Good afternoon to all present here. Brigadier P.K. Sharma, Inspecting Officer, Sainik Schools Society. Colonel T. Chakravarti, Principal, Sainik School Gopalganj. Lieutenant Colonel Smita, Vice Principal, Sainik School Gopalganj. Learned teachers and dear cadets. At the outset, let me accord a heartfelt welcome to the Inspecting Officer to the digital platform of our school. Sir, your virtual presence here is a source of inspiration and motivation for all of us. Sir, the school has prepared a calendar of activities to be conducted from July 2021 to 15 August 2022 in order to commemorate 75 years of India's independence. Bharat Ka Amrit Mahotsav. In continuation to a series of program activities, today we are going to conduct a power presentation by class 10 cadets of this school on the very historic topic event Dandi March. The presentation is for a resilient, resurgent and Atmanirbhar Bharat to translate the vision of Honorable Prime Minister into reality. Sir, I hope you like the presentation of the young minds of the school. Now, without taking much time, I hand over the forum to Cadet Avinandan and his team for presentation. Cadet Avinandan, over to you. Thank you very much. And his team.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Highly esteemed Sainik School Society, respected Principal, Sainik School Gopalganj, Vice Principal, Adam Officer, learned teachers, and all my dear friends. Today I, Cadet Abhinandan Sahi, along with my team, I am present here with a presentation on Dandi March in order to celebration. To the side, I and my team will be dwelling upon these aspects of the movement during the entire presentation.
Now, let's begin. Firstly, let me introduce you what was the Dandi March. The Dandi March, also known as Dandi Satyagraha or Salt Satyagraha, was an act of non-violent disobedience in colonial India led by Mahatma Gandhi to emphasize the idea of truth and the need to search for it. The Dandi March drew worldwide attention to the Indian independence movement through extensive newspaper and newsreel coverage. In the Salt Satyagraha, Gandhiji protested against the unjust salt laws of the British government. He believed that salt was a basic necessity of life and it should be available to all. The beginning of the civil disobedience movement was marked by the Dandi March.
Well, this Salt March was a 24-day march that lasted from 12th March 1930 to 5 April 1930. In this, Mahatma Gandhi travelled along with his 78 trusted volunteers, covering a distance of 240 miles from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. On his way, Mahatma Gandhi also addressed some huge gatherings of people, and he always tried to convey the idea of Swaraj. That's why later on he was joined by 1,000 others.
Now, moving to the background, which paved the way of the Dandi or Salt Satyagraha. In the Lahore session of Congress, which held in December 1929, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, formalized the demand for Poon Swaraj, and it was decided that 26 January 1930 would be observed as Independence Day, although it was not achieved. On this day, national flag, that was a Swaraj flag, designed by Mahatma Gandhi, was hosted in different venues, and patriotic songs were being sung. In this Lahore session, a resolution was passed to launch the civil disobedience movement.
Also, Mahatma Gandhi wrote a letter to Lord Irwin, the then Viceroy of India, on 31st, informing him about his intentions, 11 demands, and it was kept as an ultimatum, which, if not fulfilled, would result in launch of a full-fledged civil disobedience movement.
Now, let's talk about the salt law, against which our freedom fighters like Gandhiji and many others protested. In order to harmonize regulations over the supply of salt, the British passed the India Salt Act of 1882. This created a government monopoly on the manufacture and sale of salt. Salt could be manufactured and handled only at official government salt depots. A tax of 1 rupee and 4 annas on each mond, 1 mond was equal to 82 pounds. This act of 1882 prohibited Indians from collecting or selling salt, a staple in the diet.
Well, now coming to the provisions of the Salt Law of 1882. The first provision was that Indian citizens were forced to buy vital minerals from their British rurals, who, in addition to exercising their monopoly, also charged heavy salt tax. Although India's poor suffered most under the tax, all Indians required salt as it was an essential item of their food. The other provision was that any person dealing with unauthorized salt production would be penalized for his or her criminal offense and be imprisoned for a term of 3 months, which could extend up to 6 months. Now, I would like to invite my friend Cadet Arpit Raj Singh and Cadet Milan, who will take you forward through this presentation. Cadet Arpit and Milan.
Thank you, my friend Cadet Abhinandan. Now, let's talk about the objectives of Dandi March. The, the main objective of the Dandi March was to oppose salt tax and the British monopoly over its sale and its production, because it was very inhuman to tax something which was the basic necessity of the food.
Another objective of Dandi March was to provide the civil disobedience movement a strong inaugurus so that more and more people could be inspired to join it.
For any movement to be strong and successful, it needs a mass participation. So Gandhiji chose salt because it was deemed as something on which every Indian had a basic right, and it was indispensable need of everyone. And it was something which could unite both the rich and the poor. And even Gandhiji wanted to connect the abstract idea of Swaraj with something concrete which would attract more and more people to join the mass movement. Now, let's talk about the 11-point demands. Gandhiji wrote a letter to Lord Irwin, the then Viceroy of India, stating 11 demands. And these demands consisted of demands of general interest and the demands of specific interest. And it was also stated that if the demands would not be fulfilled by 11th of March 1930, then the Indian National Congress would launch a mass civil disobedience movement.
Some of the general demands of Gandhiji were to reduce the expenditure of defense and civil administration so that more and more money could be raised for providing better public facilities to the Indians. Then to bring a change in the arms law so that Indians could also keep arms for their self-defense. Another demand was to accept the postal reservation bill. The postal reservation bill would reduce the cost of postage stamps, and the direct beneficiaries of this bill would be the poor.
Now, some of the specific demands made were to change the exchange ratio between rupee and sterling, and to impose foreign duty on clothes so that it could reduce the momentum of foreign industries in the country and it would help in flourishing the Indian industries. And another demand made was to reduce the rate of land revenue by 50% so that it could help the poor peasants of the country.
Now, the march begins. As there was no response from the Viceroy office till 11th of March 1930, Mahatma Gandhi had to act. Hence, he launched the Dandi March on 11th of March.
Now, the march was of 240 miles and Gandhiji inspired people throughout his way and his efforts resulted in a mass movement nationwide.
On 6th of April 1930, Mahatma Gandhi reached Dandi with his 78 volunteers and broke the salt law. This marked the beginning of civil disobedience movement.
Now, here's a short clip about Dandi March. Let's enjoy this.
दांडी मार्च भारतीय इतिहास की बेहद महत्वपूर्ण घटना। दरअसल अंग्रेजों ने नमक बनाने पर लगा दी थी पाबंदी। इसके विरोध में 80 सत्याग्रहियों को साथ लेकर महात्मा गांधी जा पहुंचे थे दांडी। 12 मार्च 1930 को गांधी जी ने सविनय अवज्ञा आंदोलन के तहत तोड़ दिया नमक कानून। हालांकि इसके बाद गांधी जी को हो गया कारावास, लेकिन स्वाधीनता के संघर्ष में इस आंदोलन का मकाम है बेहद खास।
Now let's talk about the route map of Dandi March. At Alsali, Gandhiji made his first speech of the march, in which he said, "I can understand there being a tax on things such as liquor, hookah, and bidis, but should there be a tax on salt?" And on 18th of March, on reaching Ras village, he urged students and teachers to join the movement. On 23rd of March, Gandhiji was accompanied by a social activist, Kamala Chattopadhyay, who urged Gandhiji to proclaim that women should also be satyagrahis. And April 6, 1919, on this day, Gandhiji started a protest against the Rowlatt Act. So this day had its own historical importance. That's why in April 1931, this day was chosen on the day on which the salt law should be broken. And on reaching Dandi, Gandhiji picked up a lump of salt and broke the salt laws.
Now, I would like to call Cadet Prerna and Cadet Radha, who will take you further in this presentation.
Thank you, Cadet Milan and Arpit. Now, we are going to talk about role of women in the movement. It is said that for Indian women, the civil disobedience movement was the most liberating experience to date and truly marked their entry into the public space. During Gandhi's Salt March, thousands of women came out of their homes to listen to Gandhiji. Although the participation of women was not planned earlier, yet They volunteered to join this noble cause, and number converted into thousands in later stages. They participated and manufactured salt and picketed foreign goods, and for this, many went to put behind the bars. In the urban areas, these women were from high caste families, and in rural areas, they came from rich peasants' households. We can say that the sacrifice made by the women of India will occupy the foremost place.
Yes, Prerna, but Gandhiji was convinced that it was the duty of women to look after home and hearth, be good mother and also be good wives. For a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to hold any position of authority within the organization. But there were many prominent personalities who had taken part in the Dandi March, which includes both men and women. We will be talking about some of them. Sarojini Naidu. She was the first Indian woman to become the president of Congress, was involved. It is a march towards the Dharasana Works, a government salt depot.
Mithuben Horsmuji Petit, who was one of the pioneer Indian independence female activists who participated in Gandhi's Dandi's March.
C. Rajagopalachari. He led a salt march from Tiruchirappalli to Vedaranyam in the Tanjore coast in Tamil Nadu in the support of the civil.
K. Kellappan, he was a Nair Congress leader, launched the Vikram Satyagraha and marched from Calicut to Penniyar for the defense of salt laws. Other leaders who participated in this totally non-violent affair were Imam Sahib, Gandhi's comrade of South African struggle, and Manilal, who was the son of Gandhi.
This led to the starting of civil disobedience movement. The observance of the Independence Day in 1930 was followed by the launch of civil disobedience movement. Under the leadership of Gandhi, it carried forward the unfinished work of non-cooperation movement. It was the first struggle to win Poon Swaraj or the complete independence. It was based non-violent satyagraha. Gandhian ideas were widely followed by the satyagrahis. It was an open challenge to the British rule. Also, the people openly disobeyed the British laws.
Yes, Radha. In early 1931, efforts were made by Viceroy Irwin to persuade the Congress to join the Second Round Table Conference. An agreement was reached between Gandhi and Irwin, accordingly to which the government agreed to release all the political prisoners against whom there was no charges of violence. The Congress was to suspend the civil disobedience movement. Now, I want to ask you one question. What do you think that this civil disobedience movement suspended without taking any lives of satyagrahis? If so, you are totally wrong. Over 300 satyagrahis were severely injured and 2 killed in the brutal lathi charge by the police. There were demonstrations, hartals, boycott of foreign goods, and later refusal to pay taxes. Lakhs of people participated in this movement, including a large number of women.
Now, there were many effects of the civil disobedience movement. It has a significant effect on the Indian freedom struggle. These were civil disobedience in different forms continued in different provinces. Special stress was laid on boycott of foreign goods. It made the British government realize the need of constitutional reform. As a consequence, the Government of India Act 1935 was passed.
In eastern India, payment of Chaukidari tax refused. This no tax campaign became very popular in Bihar. This movement made people understand the significance of the principles of non-violence.
In Bengal, J.N. Senagupta defied government laws by reading openly books which were banned by the government. defiance by forest laws assumed a mass character in Maharashtra. It created a political consciousness and a deep sense of patriotism in the minds of the people.
The movement had taken hold in provinces of Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Assam.
It brings women out of their homes and make them equal partners in the freedom struggle. The history of Indian freedom struggle would be incomplete without mentioning the contribution of the women.
Although the civil disobedience movement failed to achieve any positive outcomes, it was an important juncture in the history of Indian independence. The leadership of Mahatma Gandhi had a beneficial impact. India rediscovered its inherent strength and confidence to crusade against the British for its freedom. Now, I would like to call Cadet Keshav Raj and Shreyans Kant for further information.
Thank you, Cadet Prerna. Now, it will be interesting to see the outcomes of the movement. As SALT was chosen the agenda for the movement, thousands of people connected to it easily. Many broke this law by making SALT in front of British officials.
People in India boycotted British goods and clothes and started wearing khadi. Shopkeepers stopped selling goods made in Britain.
In response, Britishers came up with more strict laws. They censored the Congress and declared it and its associates illegal, but none of this affected the movement.
Now we will be talking about the significance of the Dandi March. Imports from Britain had fallen considerably. For example, imports of clothes from Britain had fallen by half. As mentioned, it was because of the idea of boycotting British goods. Gandhiji and a few leaders gave the idea to the people to boycott foreign clothes and use Indian-made goods and khadi clothes instead. He also suggested to set up our own institution and administration to get free from the reliance upon the British.
The movement was more widespread than all the previous ones. Mass participation, including women, peasants, workers, students, urban elements like merchants, shopkeepers, provided the Congress a new All India status.
The support that the movement had garnered from the poor and the illiterate, both in the town and the countryside, was remarkable. The support was available for the reason that every section of society consumed salt, including rich, poor, scholar, illiterate, etc. Everyone.
The movement was experienced as the most liberating experience till date by the Indian women because it let them participate in the movement freely at a large scale. Hence, it can be truly said to have marked their entry into the public space.
Now, we would be introducing you about the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. When civil disobedience movement was on its peak, colonial governments started arresting people one by one. This led to violent clashes at many places. When Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was arrested, angry crowds demonstrated in the streets of Peshawar. Many were killed. Seeing this, Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement.
Then he entered a pact with Irwin. The Gandhi-Irwin Pact was a political agreement signed by our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and Lord Irwin, who was then Viceroy of India. The pact was signed on 5th of March in year of 1931, before the Second Roundtable Conference held in London. With this pact, Gandhiji consented to participate in the Roundtable Conference. The Second Roundtable Conference was held from the month of September to December in year 1931.
The pact was signed under the following conditions agreed by the British. First was agreement with the withdrawal of all ordinances issued by the British government, along with the withdrawal of prosecutions relating to several types of political offences like Rowlatt Act, etc., except for those involving violence. Acceptance upon the release of all political prisoners arrested for participating in the Salt March, except those who were guilty of the violence.
There was an agreement of restoring all confiscated properties and satyagrahis by British ruling government. The pact also included that the agreement that the salt tax had to be removed, which permitted Indians for freely manufacturing, collecting, and selling salt, especially to the people living near the coastal areas. The ban over the Congress was also lifted.
Now we will be heading to the end of the topic to conclusion. One of the most important events in Indian history had been the Dandi Salt March. The march helped many Indians and was for a very good reason. It marked the beginning of the end of the British rule in India.
Defying the SALT Act's Mahatma Gandhi vision would be an initially simple way for many Indians to break up British law non-violently. Here are some pictures of country currency, notes and coins in which it represents Dandi March and significance of Mahatma Gandhi's leadership in it. Thank you. Jai Hind.